Dwarf elephants, also known as pygmy elephants, are a fascinating prehistoric members of the order Proboscidea group of elephants that have evolved to be much smaller in size compared to their larger relatives. Dwarf elephants are either extinct or critically endangered. They are of great interest to scientists and researchers because they provide insights into the process of evolution and the effects of island ecosystems on species. Efforts are being made to protect and conserve the remaining populations of dwarf elephants to ensure their survival in the face of various threats, including habitat loss and human activities. The coloration of dwarf elephants would likely be similar to that of their larger counterparts, as their size reduction does not necessarily affect their color patterns. Elephants typically have grayish or brownish skin, which can appear darker or lighter depending on factors such as dust, mud, or sun exposure. The skin of elephants is sparsely covered in hair, and they do not have dense fur like some other animals. The underlying skin color is usually a shade of gray, which can vary from light gray to dark gray or even appear almost black. This coloration helps elephants blend into their natural habitat, such as savannas or forests. The size of dwarf elephants can vary depending on the species and the specific population. As their name suggests, dwarf elephants are generally smaller in size compared to their larger relatives. However, it's important to note that dwarf is a relative term and does not necessarily imply extreme smallness. For example, the Mediterranean dwarf elephant that lived on Mediterranean islands during the Pleistocene epoch was estimated to be about 1 to 2 meters tall at the shoulder and weighed around 200 to 400 kilograms. These elephants were significantly smaller than their mainland counterparts but were not tiny in an absolute sense. The Borneo pygmy elephant, a subspecies of the Asian elephant, is another well-known example of a dwarf elephant. Borneo pygmy elephants are typically around 2.5 to 3 meters tall at the shoulder. While they are smaller than other Asian elephant subspecies, they are not as small as some other island dwarf elephant species. Dwarf elephants, like their larger counterparts, are generally social animals. They exhibit social behavior and live in groups known as herds or families. Social interaction is an important aspect of their lives, facilitating cooperation, communication, and mutual support within the group. Elephants, including dwarf elephants, have a complex social structure characterized by strong bonds among individuals. They form matriarchal societies where the herd is typically led by an older, experienced female known as the matriarch. The matriarch plays a crucial role in decision-making, leading the group to food and water sources, and providing guidance and protection to the younger elephants. Within the herd, there is a range of social interactions, including grooming, playing, and communication through vocalizations, body language, and touch. These interactions help maintain social cohesion, strengthen relationships, and ensure the well-being of the group. The lifespan of dwarf elephants can vary depending on several factors, including the species, the specific population, and the environmental conditions. Unfortunately, since most dwarf elephant species are either extinct or critically endangered, it is challenging to determine their exact lifespan with certainty. However, we can make some general observations based on the lifespan of their larger relatives, the Asian and African elephants. Asian elephants typically have a lifespan of 60 to 70 years, while African elephants can live up to 70 to 80 years or even longer in some cases. The diet of dwarf elephants would likely be similar to that of their larger counterparts, as their reduced size does not necessarily alter their dietary requirements. Elephants are herbivorous animals and primarily consume plant matter to meet their nutritional needs. The exact diet of a dwarf elephant would depend on its specific habitat and the availability of vegetation in that area. Generally, elephants feed on a variety of plant material, including grasses, leaves, bark, fruits, and even branches. They are known as bulk grazers or browsers, capable of consuming large quantities of vegetation to sustain their massive bodies. In forested areas, elephants may browse on a diverse range of tree leaves, twigs, and fruits. In more open grassland habitats, they predominantly graze on grasses and herbs. Their diet can also include aquatic plants if they have access to wetland or swampy areas. Elephants have specialized teeth and jaws that are adapted for grinding and chewing tough plant material. They have a unique digestive system that allows them to extract nutrients from cellulose-rich plants, which are otherwise difficult to digest for many other animals. The breeding pattern of dwarf elephants would generally follow the reproductive behavior observed in their larger relatives, such as Asian and African elephants. However, specific information regarding the breeding patterns of dwarf elephant species is limited due to their rarity and endangered status. Therefore, the following information is based on what is known about the reproductive behavior of elephants in general. Elephants are social animals and typically have a polygynous mating system, where dominant males mate with multiple females within a herd. During the mating season, known as estrus or must in males, males display increased aggression and sexual activity, and their hormone levels are elevated. Female elephants, on the other hand, experience estrus cycles characterized by hormonal changes that signal their fertility. These cycles can last several weeks, and females are receptive to mating only during certain periods. They exhibit behavioral and physical cues to indicate their reproductive status, such as increased vocalizations, scent marking, and swelling of the genitalia. When a receptive female comes into contact with a dominant male, mating can occur. The gestation period of elephants is long, typically lasting around 22 months, which is the longest gestation period among land mammals. After giving birth, female elephants provide care and protection to their offspring, and the young elephants stay with their mothers for several years, learning important social and survival skills. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for even more viewing pleasure. Don't forget, like and comment. Feel free to share.